This is KGW News at noon.
President Wagner.
Here. A quorum is present. Remonstrance.
And we have breaking news out of Salem. The longest legislative walkout in Oregon history is over after 6 weeks. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brenda Braxton. You're taking a live look at the Senate floor, where they quickly got to work after gaveling in at 11:16 this morning. The Senate had a quorum for the first time since Republicans walked out on May 3rd, protesting bills on abortion, transgender health care, and gun safety. The exact details of the deal between Republican and Democratic leaders haven't been made public, but Minority Leader Tim Knopp made a brief statement from the floor.
We asked for lawful, we asked for constitutional, we asked for compromise. We have received that from your side. We appreciate everyone who was involved, and we just want you to know that we want to finish the session out in an extraordinarily bipartisan way. We hope we can accomplish that together. I think that will be best for Oregonians.
Evan Watson is on his way to Salem right now to find out what's in the deal that ended the walkout. He'll have a live report coming up on KGW News at 4. Also today, we are keeping a very close eye on a wildfire near the Dalles. It was a scary situation last night when flames burned dangerously close to the Oregon Veterans Home. Today, conditions have improved, as you can see from our live camera on their rooftop. However, residents are still sheltering in place as firefighters protect the property. The Milepost 87 fire started around 5 o'clock yesterday evening right along Interstate 84. It's burned about 150 acres, including one home on the east side of the Dalles. Both level 2 and level 3 evacuation orders are in effect. We do have a map that highlights those two zones. Red is go now and includes the Viewpoint Mobile Home and RV Park and the Oregon Veterans Home. Yellow means be ready to go. It includes the communities of Petersburg and Fairbanks. At last check, there is still no containment on the fire. In eastern Oregon, the Hat Rock fire is getting bigger. Firefighters are trying to contain it near Hermiston. Right now, it covers almost 16,000 acres in both Oregon and Washington. So far, no structures have been reported lost. In the meantime, in Pendleton, the Mount Hebron fire has burned 370 acres and some outbuildings on the north side of the city. It's now 99% contained. We want to bring in meteorologist Chris McGinnis this afternoon. So, Chris, what are the winds in the East Gorge doing?
As they were yesterday, they were easing back a little bit from what we were looking at in previous days, right? That said, any wind is still helping to fan the flames. And at last check, the breeze out at the Dalles Airport observation site is on the other side of the river, but the wind is a close proxy, right? North-northwest sustained winds at 17. We've had occasional gusts to 25 miles an hour out on the east end of the Columbia River Gorge. And as we get out into the Columbia Basin, this is a change from yesterday and certainly from days before. Umatilla down to maybe 10-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Earlier this week, we were looking at 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts that end of the gorge and the Columbia Basin. So that, we're going in the right direction as far as that's concerned. However, with each increasing push of marine air, we're likely to see the winds ratchet up a little bit late in the afternoon, as they do here on Futurecast, and then kind of subside a bit. So I think until we get some rain out there or an overall pattern shift, we're still going to have to worry a little bit about obviously the dry conditions and the windy conditions as well. 62 last check at PDX in the metro area right now. We're starting to clear things out. The coast also clearing out. There's the live look from Cannon Beach. 64 in Hillsborough, 62 in Aurora. We had readings in the 40s and, in fact, in the 30s across portions of western Oregon this morning. Sun River started off the morning in the upper 20s. You're now up to 60. The plan for the rest of the day, increasing sunshine and eventually temperatures getting into the upper 70s. We're probably back in that territory again tomorrow. And then, Brenda, yes, changes, including rain in our weekend forecast. More on that in just a bit.
See you then. Thank you, Chris. More bad news for Pacific Power. It has to pay $18 million in punitive damages for its role in Oregon's Labor Day wildfires almost 3 years ago. That's on top of a $73 million judgment handed down by a Multnomah County jury on Monday. By the time everything is said and done, losing this class action lawsuit could cost Pacific Power billions of dollars. The company says it plans to appeal. Providence Health is preparing for a 5-day nurses' strike, which is set to start on Monday. Providence says patients in Portland, Seaside, and Home Health and Hospice should expect long wait times. All non-emergency surgeries will be canceled next week, and the neonatal ICU will close temporarily, moving those babies to other hospitals. Providence says it'll hire replacement nurses during the strike.
We work with a company who provides replacement workers, and so we are working with that company right now, and we have orientation this weekend, and we will be ready to have those replacement workers join us on Monday morning.
After the 5-day strike, the plan is for about 2,000 Providence nurses to go back to work. Their union says it's been negotiating for about 9 months for higher pay and more staff. Portland's daytime camping ban begins next month, and it goes beyond just banning tents. The city is also banning camping in abandoned vehicles. Blair Best went out to Northeast 33rd Drive, where people living in broken down RVs and trailers line the street.
Velma Carter considers herself a fortunate homeless person, since she lives in this RV and not on the sidewalk.
It's my one-bedroom apartment that just happens to have wheels on it.
Last week, Portland City Council passed a ban on camping on public property between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Many of those discussions focused on tents blocking sidewalks and businesses, but RVs are also included. Homeless people like Velma didn't know that.
I'm terrified of it. If they're going to be banning that, how soon till they ban RVs?
Yeah, so RVs are included in this ban.
Oh boy. Not what I've been reading. Oh boy.
They're telling us to literally just disappear. There's nowhere to disappear to.
For people like Velma and Zaina, who use their RV as a campsite, under this new ordinance, they have to follow the city's general parking rules between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., which means they have to be lawfully parked, which is almost impossible for them to do, given the state of their RV.
I can't lawfully park this thing at all. Its VIN number doesn't exist in a DMV database. I can't register it, no matter what. It's an abandoned vehicle because it's a ghost rig that's been jimmy-rigged and parted together too much.
Now she's left to move her makeshift rig during the day, which she says takes time away from getting back on her feet.
That's job hunting time. How am I going to be job hunting with a house on my back?
We keep the doors locked, you saw, every single day. For years, we've never unlocked the doors.
Brianna Seetoff works at a nearby hair salon, surrounded by tents and RVs.
I've called 311 a bunch of times just to have it cleaned up.
She often feels unsafe at work, but isn't confident that this camping ban will change that.
If we're not going to implement services, mental health, anything, I think it's ridiculous.
Instead of telling us we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do this, we can't do that, tell us what we can do.
The city says they can go into available shelter.
I have tried shelters before in the past. I've gone through TPI. A lot of the shelters, like right now with my animals, it's really difficult to do.
And then there are places like here, out on Northeast 33rd Drive, lined with dozens of campers and RVs, each considered a campsite. Now, many of them don't run and have been sitting out here for years. So how or will they be moved every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.? That part is still unclear. Blair Best, KGW News.
Today, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld a Native American adoption law. It gives preference to Native Americans seeking to foster or adopt Native American children to preserve their families, traditions, and cultures. This case pitted a white foster couple from Texas against 5 different tribes. The couple claimed the Indian Child Welfare Act amounted to racial discrimination. Now, reaction is pouring into this. The National Indian Child Welfare Association, which is based here in Portland, praised the decision, saying it's crucial for the safety and well-being of Native children and families and the future of Native peoples and tribal nations. It added the positive impact of today's decision will be felt across generations.